trimming, and cleaning power with cordless lawn tools from Ryobi. Whatever your lawn needs, we have tools to get the job done that won't leave you tangled up. So what are you waiting for? It's time to feel the grass between your toes. Feels like Memorial Day at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get access. Well, not anymore, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide with deals like our Silver Unlimited plan for just $45 a month and no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for $249, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless. Available at Walmart and Walmart.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
When it comes to your credit card, Discover believes in having real people available 24/7 to help answer your questions. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer.
Look at him go! He simply runs out of his shoe. He's running so fast.
And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots.
Watch for the great block by Keith Byars on Pepper Johnson. Bam! Right there. Byars just nailed it.
He's Dayton's own Keith Byars. It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome. You're listening to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Phone number to call is 937-518-1410. Give it to you one more time. 937-518-1410. That's 1410. And you can also hit me on Twitter at KAB41 is my Twitter handle. You can get me that way as well. If you don't want everybody to know what you're talking about, you can just let your fingers do the walking. Shout out to the old Ohio Bell Telephone Company, telephone books. And most of the generation of kids like, what's a telephone book? But I did grow up with that. Justin, did you have a telephone book when you was a child growing up? You can shake your head. Yes, no. No, he did not have a telephone book. But hey, Justin Kenner is back. He's my producer. He's also the host of the Justin Kenner Show, radio show, him and Big Kev. But he's back from honeymoon. He was honeymooning, y'all. He's officially, young ladies, he's officially off the market. He's married now.
So much disappointment. So much disappointment on the ladies out there. But yeah, I got a ring before Joe Burrow did. So
you did? See, even in marriage, he goes after the bingos. Y'all thought marriage was gonna change him? Nah, not quite.
Doubling
down. Yeah, nice ring. So maybe the Bengals can join you this year. Maybe. But nonetheless, welcome back, Justin. Congratulations to you for that. That's awesome. Well, guys, what a week of sports we've had. Shout out to Justin Thomas, PGA champion in the golf course. Woody came back from 7 shots yesterday. Woo-wee. Tiger Woods had to withdraw because of health issues. First time in his career he's withdrawn from a tournament, once he started. But hey, just wish, Tiger Woods all the best in health, even to be out here. It's been 15, 16 months, after his horrendous, crash, to be able to walk 18 holes, let alone play 18 holes of championship golf in a major and make the cut. And just the pain got too much after 3 days. So do what you have to do, Tiger. We're all behind you. We're just happy to see you out there. But hey, Justin Thomas, his second major of his career. Congratulations. What a playoff. Those last 3 holes, to get into the playoffs. And he won it. So, hey, shout out to that. I'm a love golf. And last week, I was in Atlanta. I think I mentioned that on the show last week. I was in there for the College Football Hall of Fame. Had an opportunity to go see it. You can see some pictures of it on my social media. But also played a great golf course there, Peachtree. It's in the top Golf Digest top 100. I think it's number 30 on the list. Just a beautiful, beautiful time. I came within 4 revolutions of the golf ball of a hole-in-one. Didn't win close to the pin. Somebody pencil whipped me out of that. But I had a good time in Atlanta last week. So I get back home, get my golf clubs. I left with my travel cover because I just didn't play for a couple of days. And I get out and I played Friday. I show up at the first tee, had my golf club still, unzip my head covers, and I took my driver out of my golf bag, and it came out in pieces. It was the head was snapped off. So TSA for Delta Airlines, I'm calling you out. Y'all busted up my clubs. My driver, tailor-made driver, is broken in 2. So hopefully the good people at TaylorMade will replace it. I don't know. I'm still waiting to hear back. But I don't have a driver, so I had to play that round with no driver. So my guy said, man, you need to play without a driver more often. You're a lot better without it. But my driver got broke. Now, you golfers out there, you know how that feels. Imagine you get to the first tee, you have to take out your club, and it's broken in 2. Not a lot of fun. But I'm trying to, I had to go back to my R11. How many years has that been, that club? And I had to go back to a TaylorMade R11 driver. And there's a reason why it was my backup driver. So I need a driver. Anyone can help me out, please. Please feel free. I need a new driver, preferably TaylorMade. But, when you're begging Benny, you can't complain. So I need a new driver. But the NBA playoffs are we're at the finals time. Well, not the NBA finals, we're at the conference final. And I told you back in April, I'm not going to hardly get to sleep until June. And I was up again late last night. Not too late because the game started a little early. I think it came on at 8:30. The Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors just went up 3-0 in that series. They said the series doesn't start until the home team loses. The home team lost, so it's 3-0. I mean, Golden State held their serve in Golden State in San Francisco. They won their 2 games. They go to Dallas. They're 1 up and with 1 to go. So it's going to be an uphill. Nobody in NBA history has come back from 3-0 in the best of 7. Not say it's over, but the fat lady is in mic check. She's tapping the mic. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? So I'm not saying that the Mavericks are going to get swept, but it's going to be over soon. They would do well to get it to a game 6, but I don't think it's going to go to game 6. I think it's going to be game 4, game 5, and it'll be a wrap. You listen to the players talk after the game. They were talking as if the season was pretty much over. They just got to go out here for one more game and give it 4 quarters, and they're ready to go to Cancun. They're ready for vacation. But we'll see. The Eastern Conference Finals, that series is 2-1. Both home teams have lost. So we have a series. The Miami Heat are leading 2-1. Heat won the first game. Boston won the second game. And the Heat won the third game. So is it Boston's time to win the game 4? I don't know. We'll see tonight. But the NBA playoffs has been really, really good. I've been asking the question all playoffs long. Do you miss LeBron James? It's the first playoff he hasn't been in and since his rookie year, if I'm not mistaken. So he's like, man, his team didn't make the playoffs. But he's still one of the powers, one of the top dogs in the NBA, and but the next wave is coming through, and we're not putting LeBron out to pasture just yet. He still has some career left, but the next wave of young players up and coming are almost ready to take center stage, and one of them, he's got to grow some growing pains as he's still playing. Luka Doncic. I like his game. I like his offensive game an awful lot, but Luka, he has to take the bitter with the sweet. What he loves when everyone talks good about him, but now he's got to take the bitter. When you're down 3-0 and you're the best player on your team, you're going to get criticism. I don't really care, who you are. You're gonna, whether that's just the rules, whether you like the rules or not, that's just how they are. I don't like the rules when I hit my ball way left and they say, hey, it's out of bounds. Is that what those white stakes mean? Can we move them so my ball can be inbounds? But no, those are the rules. So, Luka, you to take your game to the next level, you have got to be a well-rounded player on both ends of the court because you have no defense. I mean, as good as you are on offense, you can put the ball in the hole, no question about it. You get the ball in the hole. But you also give up just as many. You scored 40 points last night. But that doesn't, when you were on the court, the Mavericks was minus 18. Minus 18 with a guy who goes out and get 40 points for his team. And you were a target on the other end of the court. They was like, where's Luka? He with us. They were targeting you on defense, and they just kept on going at you. Your game is very similar to James Harden. You have James Harden type of game. Great, you're a ball stopper on offense. When you get the ball, everybody stops and watch you do your work. You're ball dominant, and it takes you however long it takes you to get in the rhythm, and you score points and you score buckets. But then you go back to the other end of the court and get your rest so you can come back and score again, but you're not helping your team. You look at James Harden. Yeah, he's a little past his prime now, and he happens to be on my team. But you look at James Harden when he was in Houston and OKC. Dude, he was, he could score points, no question. But you got to get people involved. One of the reasons why we love basketball, not just NBA basketball, but all basketball, is watching five guys go out there and just work the ball. Watch the flow and the rhythm, a lot of ball movement. Yes, we like the superstars on teams, but even they, have to move that ball around, not just be a ball dominant and a ball stopper. And when the NBA has proven that when you have one superstar on your team and everything goes through you, you're not going to win it. You're going to win some games. You're going to make the playoffs. But it's hard to be the last man standing. If that's I'm not going to say it's hard. It's impossible. You can't win it with one guy being the dominant player. The history bears that out. You look at the Los Angeles Lakers with Wilt Chamberlain. He was still arguably one of the greatest players ever played. He's on my top three. It's Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Michael Jordan. Any one of those three you mentioned, I have no problem. But Wilt couldn't win the championship, until he got some help. He won one championship, and, Jerry Westwood did his thing, but it was taking the Celtics would still beat them. Yeah, Wilt, you're going to go get your 45, 50 points, whatever it was, but we're going to stop everyone else. And you look in the NBA doing this, quote unquote, I would say, to me, the golden era of the NBA of the 80s and the 90s. And you look at all those superstars that played that didn't win championships. Dominique Wilkins with the Atlanta Hawks. He was super human highlight film that wasn't winning championships. Rick Barry, of the early 70s, he won one. He's a great scorer, but he was fortunate to win one they put just to knock the pieces together that one year with Golden State. You come, even more in the 80s. It usually takes three good pieces. And the Utah Jazz, John Stockton, Karl Malone, but they never really had that third guy that could help get them by the Bulls. That they didn't try to do it with just one guy. Patrick Ewing with the New York Knicks, he was the guy. He just never had that second and third option to help get him there. That's the difference between them losing to the Houston Rockets and winning. He didn't, John Starks couldn't throw one in the ocean in Game 7. But you need well-rounded players on both ends of the court, and you need to surround your superstars with that kind of talent. And that superstars make everyone else around them better. My team even, we had the best player in the world, for a lot of years with Dr. J, Julius Erving. He came from the ABA. He was the best. He get to the NBA. He's the best. Win MVP, but you can't win a championship. And they had till we finally made a free agent and went and got Moses Malone, and then they were able to win it. I mean, look at Giannis in today's game. Giannis was the MVP, but he couldn't win because he didn't have any help before Chris Middleton grew up. They get Drew Holiday, and now they didn't go back to back, but they are a better team now that they got those other players until where they are right now. So you need other players. So Luka Doncic has got to learn to play well with others. And then when you tell your kids when they hey, can you play well with others? So Luka has to play well with others. He just can't be a ball dominant guy. He's got to get more players involved. Yes, you're gonna get 40 points, but what else you got? And it almost reminds me of an old school player. Some of my older listeners would know this guy, Kelly Tripucka. When Kelly Tripucka played for the Detroit Pistons, he could put numbers up. He could put the ball in the hole. But he could not stop anybody. Hey, man, it was like, one playoff series, they're playing New York Knicks. He was asking for double team. Hey, man, we trying to check our guy. I'm sorry, Bernard King is lighting your fire, but you got to help us out. So you got it. Luka is not putting the defensive clamp down on anyone. So, Luka, I love you. Got respect for your game. But if you want to be an NBA champion someday, you got to play well with others. I'm not saying you got to go out there and be Dennis Rodman on defense, but you have got to put in the work. Just like we talked during the football season, we talked, what are you doing in the whole season to make you better? So whenever the Dallas Mavericks are out of this thing this summer, Luka has got to be better. And how does he get better, Keith? Well, Luka's got to get better. Number one is getting in better shape. He's too heavy-footed, flat-footed. He's got to play more on his toes. So what does that mean that he has to do? It means he's got to lose some weight. He's got to lose some weight, and he's got to get more athletic. He's got to put in the work. Just like we get on Zion Williamson, like Zion, you're a big dude in a big town that got great food, but you got to push away from the table. So Luka, hey, everything's big in Texas. Everything's big in Texas. They got great food in Texas. But Luka, you gotta be able, you're too strong, you gotta get in better shape. That means you gotta drop some weight. You gotta get with a real trainer and get you on your toes more, especially on defense. You got to be able to bend. You got to get, and that means you got to put in some work. When none of us is watching, that's when you get better. Now, hey guys, look, I'm going to the gym. No, just go to the gym. Just go put in the work. We'll see the results of it. We'll see the results of it. I mean, I used to lift weights when I was in college and pros. I used to hate to go into like a non-facility weight room, a place away from my Ohio State or Philadelphia or Miami, when I was going to like a public training, workout facility, like a New York, LA Fitness, one of those type places. When you go in there, when all the weightlifters are in there lifting bench press and squats, and one thing is, no matter where city you're in or where you are, those guys are all the same. When they got some weight on that thing, they go to screaming, look at me. They want attention. But you always can see the other guy that's just putting in work. He's just getting strong. The strongest guy in the gym don't have to yell. You just like, man, that dude over here, just watch how he goes to work. And he got 4 plates on there. Man, he got 405 pounds. He's repping out like it ain't nothing. This other guy got 315. He wants everybody to see him. So you want to be better, Luka, just go to the gym this summer. Even if miraculously Dallas comes back, win 4 in a row, win the NBA championship this year, you still need to get in the gym. You still have been defensive liability. You have got to be the best, Luka, that there can be, and that starts with you getting in better shape, changing your body style, to be able to take on 82 games of the NBA as well as the playoffs. It can be done. I've seen it done on many occasions. Look at Charles Barkley, his main example. He was a round mound of rebound coming out of college. He's like, man, look at that fat boy. He could jump, man. I was in college same time Charles Barkley was. I remember him taking on the Twin Towers of Kentucky. They had Sam Bowie, Mel Turpin, and Barkley was giving them the business at 6'4" and a half. Like, man, shoot. But then once he got to the pros, Dr. J, Moses Malone, Mo Cheeks said, hey, young man, you want to have a long career in this thing, you got to push away. You got to push away from that table. And Charles' body just transformed. He's a fat guy now because he can be. But in his prime years, he was in shape. So, Luka, you're a young guy. Luka's only 23 years old. You're a young guy. You got time to put the work in to transform your body so that you could play both ends of the court and be an effective basketball player that, you know, you're already dangerous, but you'll be scary and dangerous if you get in shape. And he's like, what do you mean he's not in shape? He's not in shape. He's not in, round is a shape, but not basketball shape. Only thing round on the court is supposed to be the basketball. That is it. You know, so that's why I'm going to leave that alone. We got a lot to talk about. I got the Lee's bucket of questions coming up, and I got a little cheat sheet. I got 5 of these questions, and one of these questions was dealing with what I was going to talk about, but I'll save it for the Lee's bucket of question. You know, this week has also been real crazy. You know, we saw some things coming out of the SEC conference concerning some prominent coaches. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. There's at least recipe nearby, so go have some, and they'll come back and we'll just continue the discussion. You listen to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
FanDuel Sportsbook NBA same-game parlays give you the chance to turn a little bet into a big payday. Choose any NBA game and combine multiple bets into one wager for bigger wins. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code PLAY to bet the NBA today. That's promo code PLAY exclusively on FanDuel Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
21 plus and present in Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, permitted parishes only. Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, Wyoming, or West Virginia. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-79-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-877-7770-STOP in Louisiana. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia.
Ready to make your family meal famous? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for the 16-piece family meal at a great price. You'll get 16 pieces of our classic Famous Recipe Chicken that's fresh, never frozen. It's honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and pressure-cooked to perfection, along with 4 of our large sides and 8 fluffy biscuits. This is the family meal upgraded. Get the meal with the most when you try our 16-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
You don't get to be the league's all-time leading rusher without feeling some pain.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith knows joint pain, and he also knows the old treatments aren't the only treatments. Today, there's a natural alternative to drugs and surgery. It's biologic therapies from QC Kinetics.
I'm talking regenerative solutions that encourage your body to heal and repair itself.
Do you have pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, lower back? Want to get your life back? The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics can help.
Call to learn more about this exciting natural way to deal with chronic joint pain.
Don't put it off. Call QC Kinetics. Restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime and lasting results.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Wendy's Biggie Bag is just $5. Get your choice of a double stack junior bacon cheeseburger or crispy chicken BLT plus 4-piece nugs, small fries, and a small drink, all for $5. U.S. price of participation may vary.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You listen to the Keith Byars radio show presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Phone number to call is 937-518-1410, or you can hit me on my Twitter also at KAB41 is my Twitter handle. You can get me there as well. You know, before the break, I was breaking down Luka Doncic's game, you know, and like I said, I wasn't hating on him. I'm a fan, but, you know, just because I'm a fan, I still got to tell you what is right and what is wrong, you know, from my point of view, which is pretty, you know, not to break my arm, pat myself on the back, but I'm pretty educated in this area. You know, if we was academic wise, I would have a doctorate. You know, the highest level you could go into the sports den. I've been studying this all my life and consider myself somewhat of a historian on sports in general. But certain sports I know a little bit more about than others. So I don't mind, you know, just being honest and true and fair, you know, with my opinion. Just because I criticize, you don't mean I'm a critic, I mean I'm a hater. I'm just giving you the facts, and you know, you can deal with the facts, you know, any way you can. And there is a difference between facts and opinions. You know, so, and I do a little bit of both on this show, but I do majority of one, and majority of it is a fact. I'm just showing it to you. Okay, well, with that being said, I want to talk about your questions that you have for me that you guys send in here to the radio station, and give me some time to think about it, and I will answer best as I can. And so we got 5 questions, and I will get to them right now. This is the Lee's Famous Recipe, Lee's bucket of questions, and my producer is going to read them, and I will answer as honestly is the only way to answer it as I can.
All right, we kick things off here again. It's the Lee's Famous Recipe bucket of questions. Question number 1 for Keith Byars here. Keith, if football was not your calling, which pro sport would you have loved to replicate your football career in? The NBA, Major League Baseball. I know you were quite an athlete all around, but the NBA, right. Baseball, what about golf? Which pro sport, again, you went professional, the NFL, pretty dang good. Pretty good. If you could replicate your NFL career in any other professional sport, if football wasn't your calling, what pro sport would you pick? Well,
I had 2 callings. I could only choose one at the time because I didn't have call waiting. Only one, the first call that got through was football. But the other call that was coming at the same time was baseball. I absolutely adored baseball. That's the first organized sport I played as a kid. My parents didn't let me play football until 7th grade. I didn't need a permission slip, but the first organized sport I played on a team, I said organized, on an actual team, was baseball. And I love playing baseball. You know, I don't really have any regrets that I didn't continue playing, but let's just say this: when Bo Jackson had the opportunity to do both at Auburn and then in the pros, I just wish I had the opportunity to do both at Ohio State, and then the pros would have taken care of itself depending on how I did at Ohio State. But I had a football, baseball scholarship, you know, to everywhere that I went. They was going to let me play both, and Ohio State agreed to let me play both until after my freshman year, when I didn't start as a freshman, and then the job was open. Earl Bruce came to me and said, I know I told you could play baseball, but if you play baseball and not go through spring practice, you're on last team in the fall. So I was like, what? You didn't tell me that, Coach, because I'm ready. We just got back from my bowl game. I'm ready to go here and get started with baseball. And he said, no, you got to do winter conditioning and spring ball. So that did not sit well with me, and that ended my baseball career right then and there. Because after he said maybe next year. And then my sophomore year, I was second team All-American and All Big Ten, and now baseball is a memory. So that's a great question, and so it was baseball. I know I had a future in baseball as well as football.
All right, question number 2. It's the Lee's bucket of questions. Every week on the Keith Byars Show, questions that are sent in from you, the listeners and the fans. I deliver them to Keith, of course. This is a good one. This interests me, too, just because of the jobs that we entail right now. Now, you get to give your sports opinion on a weekly basis, Keith. Now, sometimes players and coaches will agree with you. Sometimes they won't. You know, have you ever had a coach or a player, whether it be high school, college or pro, that has heard an opinion of yours, whether it be on the air or through social media, and disagreed with you or had a problem with what you said? Has that happened to you before?
That's a good. No, not really. It hasn't happened. where they heard what I said on the air, they probably didn't agree with me what I said to them in person. So that's what the discussion. And then I went on air and said what I said. It happened, probably a few times in Florida, where I would, especially when I was covering the Miami Dolphins. And I've always, taken the stance for, prior to the NIL licensing, these guys aren't getting paid. So I never really talked more about a college player, more so than his action. Not necessarily, it's not personal. I like say, man, I wish the wide receiver at Ohio State would have caught that pass. Whereas in the pros, I'm like, Ocho Cinco should have caught that pass. You got to make that play. It's more personal on the professional level because they're getting paid and that is their profession. Whereas my criticism on high school and college kids are more tempered because they're not getting paid, especially high school kids. We cover, Friday night football games or the game of the week in the fall. You don't never hear me necessarily say, Bob Jones, or John Doe is really playing bad. I'm like, man, that wide receiver or that cornerback needs some help. They need to help him out. But the quarterback play could be better. They're still learning. So that's how, I really give my opinions, on that. And that way, and I don't really have to answer to too many people that think I was too harsh in my criticism of anything that I've heard. So, man, I really appreciate, you pointed that out, the positive of what we're trying to do. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing.
On the flip side, and this is question number 3 for the Keith Byars, for the Lee's Famous Recipe bucket of questions. What was your relationship with the media like as a player? I mean, because now you give your sports opinions on a weekly basis on the outside looking in. But when you were in and you heard radio boobs like me and others who gave their hot takes, or, even in the newspaper and columns and stuff like that, what was your relationship like with the media? And how did the relationship differentiate between your time at Ohio State, where in college there's a lot more fanboy media, as I call it, where they're you can have 5 fumbles in the game and they're going to say how you tried your hardest and it's still, they're not going to go at you. The pros, though, it's a little different. They go at you a little different. What was the relationship like with the media from you as a player? You played in Philly. That's one of the toughest media markets out there. And you played in New York too with the Jets. So just in Boston with the Patriots, tough media market.
It was different, tough media market for sure, but it was different times when I was played in the 80s and the 90s, especially in the 80s in college. There was no internet. Mm-hmm. ESPN was the up and comer. Everybody didn't necessarily have ESPN at their houses. So print media and radio were the kings. And those guys, I never really had any problems in college. Probably, I didn't get much to talk about. And then my performance on the field, and that was pretty good. So I had a great relationship, with the media, and being a Midwestern guy, the Midwest media is different than down south, out west, and out east. Is in the east, pride themselves on being. They pride themselves on being the best, but they also pride themselves being the best jerks. So once I got to Philadelphia and the East Coast media, you at Ohio State, you just got basically the Columbus paper, and after game, then everybody in the state covers. But throughout the week, you got maybe 4. You got Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, Cleveland, and Toledo covering, those 4 or 5 areas, covering the whole state, and everybody else will pick up wires. Once I got to Philadelphia, shucks. I mean, the print media and the radio, you go in there on a regular day after practice, you would think it's now equivalent to the Super Bowl. You got the tri-state area in Philadelphia, you got Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you got Delaware, you got New Jersey, and you got a whole bunch of people out there and a lot of papers. So you're talking 4 or 5 guys on a daily basis in Ohio State. You get to Philadelphia, that's 5 times that. It's 25, 30 guys just writing for all these different newspapers. And so you get bigger appeal. And so you got to get a wide range of opinions. So the question was, I remember the first time I was criticized. Yes, because I was a rookie. I was hurt. And not so much the pre-draft stuff, but once the season started and, I played and they thought I should have had a bigger rookie year. I didn't have any training camp into that, but I was able to play the whole season, I'm just I'm trying to recover from an injury.
Yeah.
And after the season, I remember the work reporter, called me and said, "What does it feel like being Philadelphia's favorite whipping boy?" Oh, whoa. First off, I'm not a boy and ain't nobody whipping me now. What are you talking about? Well, you've been getting a lot of flack, man. So that burned me so bad.
Hey,
I was hot.
That phrasing, he would have gotten in big trouble.
Exactly today. So, but then, you learn how to deal with it. I said, at the end of the day, they got the ink pen. I don't. They're going to get the last word. But I don't have to, you learn how to deal with the media. And overall, the media is fair to you. There's always going to be outliers. And in those days, you treat the outlier as an outlier. The only time you get to talk to me is when everybody else get to talk to me. Don't ask me for no one-on-one opinions because you're not going to get it. And people wanted that, especially you have a good game and you're one of the most popular guys on the team. They want to have that access to you. But then you could take their access away from them by just, no, I'm not going to ever talk to you. Send somebody else from your newspaper to talk to me. So then that way, he said, I don't, like you said, if I fumble the ball 3 times a day, I don't mind you saying that because I did. But when I score 3 touchdowns, and you don't want to act like you don't want to cover that, but you want to just want to talk about the bad thing, you got to be some balance. Yes, it's got to be some balance. So you know who those guys are.
I think I'm probably one of those guys. I think there's quite a few people.
Yeah.
Like I think I put Kenner on that list.
But and then in the East Coast, they looking for something there. I said, I grew up here in Ohio. The Cleveland Browns could go 4-12, and they talk about the 4 games they won, not the 12 they lost. Philadelphia, you go 12-4. They talk about the 4 games you lost, not the 12 you won. Like, God, we went 12-4. Yeah, but what about these? Like, gosh, you guys are looking so negative all the time.
You win the lottery and complain about paying taxes on the money you won, right?
Right.
Like, that's how it works.
It's like that's never pleasing you. So you get thicker skin real quick.
Question number 4, another one that just came in. Your thoughts again, Ryan Day getting that contract extension and a raise at $9.5 million a year. Now it's not where it stopped though. Ohio State taking care of all their coaches because Chris Holtmann, who is kind of that in between coach that a lot of people have different varying opinions on. He got an extension as well, and he also got a raise. So again, Ohio State, Gene Smith, the athletics department coming through, taking care of their coaches. But that's big for Ryan Day, big for the Buckeyes on the football front, and then of course on the basketball side of things. I know mixed emotions there. Can't deny the success of the program under Chris Holtmann. I like Chris Holtmann. I think he's done a good job. I know there's areas to still grow, and you want to see areas of improvement, but I like to see the program taking care of their coaches. The fact that we're complaining about an NCAA tournament team every single year not doing more, that means it's a healthy program because that means you're in the tournament every year, and we're complaining about not going far enough in the tournament. To where before that, it was not making the tournament. So, but your thoughts on both coaches, again, getting taken care of by the university?
Well, basically, overall, it's the same. I was having a conversation this morning before I got on air with one of my buddies. Ryan Day in particular, when you're Ryan Day, you're, Nick Saban, who we're going to get to shortly, and other prominent coaches in college football, you have to have his contract be for at least that recruiting class that he's recruiting. Otherwise, they're going to use it against you. When you're Ryan Day and it's 2022 and your contract expires in 2025, it's hard to go into somebody's living room and say, hey, I'm going to be here in 4 years. This is where I want to be. I don't want to be anywhere else. This is home. But coach, your contract expires in 2 years. You won't even be there my whole career. Yeah, I will. Don't worry about that. It's just a formality. I will be there. Trust me, I'm looking you in your eye. And so you don't have to have those conversations. Ohio State and those in Alabama, they take care of that on paper. So they can't. People can't use that against you. Well, he's going to hold out for more money, in a couple of years. So he may work out, may not. So when Ryan Day goes in your living room and tell you he's going to be here for the next 4 years, you can make bank on it. Whether that happens or not, at least you can say, because you want to, when you choose a college, you're going to help. Hopefully, you're going to play for that coach you got a good rapport with. You're not his replacement, and you don't even know who his replacement is going to be. And you can do that because, number one, you can afford it at a big schools like Ohio State, Alabama. And number two, it's the right thing to do for them. Now, if you're at a lesser school in the Big Ten or the SEC, if you're Indiana and you're Ole Miss, you don't have to spend $9.5 million. Or extend them out 4 or 5 years because you're like, man, we don't know if we feel that way about you or not. We don't want to lock you up like that. Like when Darrell Hazel was at Purdue, it was no problem firing him because they only had to pay him another year or two of the contract and it was over with. So you see Indiana coach, or Illinois coach gets a 4 or 5 year extension. He's like, wait a minute, they ain't even been to the Big Ten championship game. Are they giving this guy committing to him 4, 5, 6 years down the line? And they don't have to. So those schools, Illinois, Ole Miss, Kentucky, don't have to do that with their football coaches, where some of your basketball coaches, you're probably better. So Holtmann is a recipient of the love that he gets being a part of the Ohio State family. Because when we're recruiting in basketball, we're not hoping the guy be there the next 4 or 5 years. Is he going to be here 2 good years and maybe 3? If he's that good, he's going to be gone.
Yep.
So he's a beneficiary of what's going on in football, Chris Holtmann.
All right, it's not the Justin Kenner Show. I'm sorry, it's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. A little rusty. I've been off for about a week.
Yeah, you've been honeymooning.
Yes. It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. If you're just joining in, it is the Lee's Bucket of Questions every show for the Keith Byars Show, every Monday or Wednesday throughout the summer, depending on the availability, of course.
Yes.
We get 5 questions sent in from you, the listeners, and I relay these questions to Keith to kind of pick his brain on some of his thoughts, whether it spans from college football to the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball,
high school.
Keep on going through. But we're going to close things out here with a little college football conversation here. About 6 minutes left, Keith. Everyone loves a good coaching feud. When Jim Harbaugh made the comment about Ryan Day saying that some guys are born on third and they think they hit a triple. That sent ripples and shockwaves throughout the college football, sports talk world, right? Well, we thought that was, a little chippy. Well, that was nothing compared to what we've seen between, of course, Nick Saban and his former assistant coach, and of course Jimbo Fisher. Now, no longer at Florida State, but now at Texas A&M. Texas A&M has the #1 recruiting class, and of course, according to many, they purchased their team, and then in the new world of name, image, and likeness, Nick Saban made it be known. And of course, now they're spatting back and forth, and they're feuding big time, and they're taking personal shots at one another and accusing one another of cheating. Your thoughts on everything going on in the college football world and the Jerry Springer version of Nick Saban versus Jimbo Fisher?
I love it. I mean, it's especially when you're not involved. It's good to be on the outside looking in for once. But when you look a little closer, you know that everything's not always peachy and cream. When they're trying to control the narrative there, and especially in the SEC, and they've had everything their way so far. All the rules have slanted toward them. They get to have 2 teams in the final in the college football playoffs twice now, more than any other conference. But I think it's truth coming out on both sides. It's hard to go 8-4. Even a non-NIL system and have the #1 recruiting team. That's even if you take the NIL out, how does that happen? Texas A&M haven't won a conference championship since 1998. They've been in the SEC, I think, for 10 years now. They haven't even made it to a conference championship game. So it's not like A&M's winning anything. And it's all on hopes and promises and things of that nature. So then when you bring in the NIL in, you're like, oh, how you're paying for players. I don't really like that. You still have to play. I mean, and whatever money that the players are getting in the NIL, it's still peanuts. So don't say, well, it's almost that rhetoric almost kind of reminds me of slavery when they use it that way. You bought something. Buying? What are you talking about? You buying? You can be sold, like you can be bought. I don't like that verbiage. I'm sure he doesn't mean it that way, but I just don't like, how that sounds. I signed an NIL deal. So don't say I bought, what about I just want to go to this college? Why does it have to be about money? Otherwise, it's going to the highest bidder.
You see, I pointed this out.
I don't really like that.
The connotation, and I definitely can see where that could be taken out of context or at least heard that way, yes. But like in the pros, we talk about that, the Yankees, they buy their championships. The Lakers, they buy their championships. But I think it's because we're so uneasy with now the thought process of these kids coming out of high school making $1 million right off the bat, these name, image, and likeness deals. It just almost sounds dirty, right? Like, is that why it's the kind of, you know what I mean? The connotation sounds bad because we say that in pro sports all the time. Oh, the Miami Heat, they bought their championship with LeBron, D. Wade. But in college, when we say it, I definitely see what you're saying. Like, the players don't have a brain of their own to choose where they want to go, that they were bought. I can understand how that's heard and perceived that way. But it's weird how we don't feel that way in pro sports when it's talked about.
Because you don't feel that way because you're talking grown men now, and it's a profession.
That's fair. Yep.
You're talking teenagers, and it was fine and dandy when a teenager was in. I'm trying the nicest way I can say that, non-minority dominated sports. Yep. So when you're talking about giving a tennis player, $1 million that, as a teenager, hey, you're going to get you into Wilmington to get you in the U.S. Open. Who was that? I did that. To get you into these big time tournaments. And, there was more happening, or swimmers, golfers turning pros as teenagers, and people are comfortable paying them the big bucks. So now you're talking football, basketball players who are dominated by a lot of African Americans.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about giving them $1 million. Oh my gosh, clutching the pearls. Oh, well, why? Why are we going to change this now? I mean, and you got Nick Saban bringing up Jackson State. Hey, Deion bought that guy.
I love Deion, by the way.
I'm like, what the heck?
Enjoying,
Why are you picking on Jackson State? I mean, that's just like Ohio State losing out to a recruit to Central State. Hey, the kid wanted to go to Central State and play football over Ohio State. Ohio State, you can't be bitter.
They beat you at your own game, and that's what you're mad at.
Yeah,
you try to make it sound dirty for the same practices that you use.
I got a very good close friend of mine. He went to Florida A&M University. So when we're talking, I said, man, so you went to HBCU. Oh, that gets him. He gets hot. I did not go to HBCU. I went to a college, just like you went to a college. You went to Ohio State, yeah. Do we say I went to you? What he called it with it? NY, white majority institution, whatever he could word. I was like, he said, I don't say that about you. So why would you say that about me? I'm like, okay, touche. He said, I went to college. I went to Florida A&M University. You went to Ohio State. They're both colleges. So why are you going to put me in a different category? And that's similar with Nick Saban was saying, like, how could you go to Jackson State over Alabama? We can't lose to recruit to you guys, or y'all must have paid him. Y'all must have bought him off. So if he would have went to Alabama, he wouldn't have been bought off. This recruit wants to choose Jackson State over Alabama. That's his choice. He's going there not just to play football. He's going there to get an education. He can't get that at Jackson State. What are you trying to say?
Well, Deion said, too, the other the weird things that are phrased when he's out, recruiting. He'll be there. There'll be some Power 5 coaches there. And then you'll hear the athletic director at these high schools say, Deion will say, oh, who's that kid or something. He'll say, oh, he's really good. But this player over here, this is probably more of who you're, this is probably a better player for you. He goes, let me decide. Don't answer for me. Let me decide which player, because, that player's going to go Power 5. He's not going to go HBCU.
100%
so
right.
The coded language or just the way things are phrased out on the recruiting trail that he's trying to put an end to those stigmas, if you will. But that was the Lee's
uphill battle.
Questions.
Great questions this week.
I'm tagging out.
Just tag out. Well, we got to tag out. We get to them again next week. I will be back. I won't be here Monday because it's Memorial Day. We got to pay, pay tribute to the soldiers and all that good stuff. I'll be back next week. Time flew by, the fastest hour of the week for me. But in the meantime, in between time, I just want to thank everyone. Let's thank my sponsors. Thank Lee's for being here, but I'll be back next week. But in the meantime, you've been listening to the Keith Byars radio show presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. And get out and do random acts of kindness and take care of your fellow man. Be safe this weekend on the roads with the holiday weekend. All right, talk to you next time.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton.